It is next part of second chapter. Asynchronous data transmission. It is called asynchronous because timing of the signal is not an issue. The information can be sent and received as per mutual agreement of the sender and receiver. Asynchronous transmission is at byte level only because transmission of bits is always synchronized. Here you can say some frames with a start bit and stop bit. A data byte is sent, after ideal time is there, then second byte is transmitted, then ideal time. Asynchronous transmission is erased by two bits, namely start bit and stop bit, that is 0 and 1. We send 0 bit to start the communication and 1 bit to stop the transmission. There can be a time delay between communication of 2 bytes. 1 byte is sent at a time. After a gap of time, next byte is transmitted. The transmitter and receiver may function at different clock frequencies. Asynchronous transmission is mostly used by asynchronous modems. Asynchronous modems. Here we can see operation of asynchronous. Full or half duplex operation, the number of bits per character, the order in which the bits are sent, the speed or bits per second of the line. Some systems use automatic speed detection, whether to use or not use parity, odd or even parity. If used, the number of stop bits sent must be chosen. Here you can see the how asynchronous transmission is works. Asynchronous transmission is works. In this slide you can see why it is called asynchronous. This mechanism is called as asynchronous because at the byte level the sender and receiver do not have to be synchronized. However, with each byte the receiver should still be synchronized with the incoming bit stream. This means that some synchronization is required only for the duration of a single byte. Then what are the advantages of synchronous transmission? The main advantage is speed. The speed of transmission is much higher than the asynchronous transmission. This is due to the absence of gaps between the data units and absence of start bit stop bits. The timing errors are reduced due to the synchronization. Then disadvantages of asynchronous transmission. Additional bits called start and stop bits are required to be used. The timing error may take place because it is difficult to determine synchronicity. It has slower transmission rate. Here you can see the comparison between asynchronous and synchronous transmission. The comparison between asynchronous and synchronous. By studying this difference between asynchronous and synchronous transmission, we can usually write, or you can easily explain, or you can easily understand what is asynchronous and synchronous transmission. Next, explain simplex, half and full duplex data transmission. So here you can see the diagrams of, or you can easily how simplex is done at how the communication is done in simplex method. Only transmitter will transmit and receiver only receives. In half duplex, one transmitter will transmit, another receiver will receives at only in single way, and another side transmitter will transmit at a time and receiver will receives at that time. In full duplex, transmitter and receiver both they can transmit at a time, receive at a time. There is no separate time for transmitter and receiver. Half and full duplex transmission. If the data can be transmitted and received, it is a duplex transmission. If the data can be transmitted and received, it is a duplex transmission. Simplex transmissions, the computer only sends data. Duplex transmission can be half or full duplex. Depends on whether or not the data transfer can be simultaneous. If one way at a time, it is a half duplex. If can go both ways at the same time, it is called full duplex. Full duplex requires two wire conductors for the data lines. Next, list the benefits of fiber optic cable. This question is very important for your examination point of view. What are the advantages of benefits of fiber optic cable? So speed. Fiber optic cable networks operate at high speed up into the gigabytes. Bandwidth, large carrying capacity, distance, signals can be transmitted further. Resistance, greater resistance to electromagnetic noise such as radios, motors or other nearby cables. Small size and weight. Maintenance, fiber optic cable costs much less to maintain. List the application. Next question is list the applications of fiber optic cable. List the applications of fiber optic cable. So here you can see some main applications, that is medical, used as light guides, imaging tools and also as lasers for surgeries. Then defense or government, used as hydrophones for seismic and sonar uses, as wiring in aircraft, submarines and other vehicles, and also for field networking. Data storage, used for data transmission, telecommunications. Fiber is laid and used for transmitting and receiving purposes. So next application of the fiber optic cable is networking. Then industrial, commercial. So you can go through that message of the industrial or commercial. Next is broadcast or CATV. Broadcast or cable companies are using fiber optic cables for wiring CATV, HDTV, internet, video on demand and other applications. List the applications of satellite. So here you can see many applications of the satellite. Vessels navigation, traffic management and surveillance, search and rescue, port operations, custom fraud control, fisheries monitoring. So these are the some applications of satellite. So you can see some of the applications of satellite in this slide also. Smart cities, and that information is given here also. Internet of things. So you can go through this message, or you can go through this contents. So agriculture purpose is also one applications of satellite. Surveying and mapping, timing and synchronization, other professional applications. So here the question number 14th is distinguish the relationship between bandwidth and channel capacity. So here we will see what is mean by bandwidth. Bandwidth is the range of frequency that suffers an attenuation less than 3 dB when the signal pass through the channel. Then channel capacity. Channel capacity is the medium of information rate that a channel is received. The channel capacity of a channel is related according to Shannon's theorem. Channel capacity is equal to bandwidth into log of 2 in bracket 1 plus SNR, where channel capacity of the channel in bits per second. Bandwidth is the bandwidth of the channel. SNR is the signal to noise ratio. So here we will complete second chapter, and some of the important questions also given in fourth slide. So you can go through that slide and you study that main important questions along, or you concentrate more on that important questions that is exam point of view. So thank you.